Hello. Hello over here. That's YouTube over here, and VK, that's Instagram here. Hi. I'll wait a couple minutes, like here and here, to um, get some viewers. Yeah, but even if we don't get a big crowd, I'll still be really, really happy to talk today about common mistakes made by native speakers of English, right? Well, that's what we're talking today. Well, yeah, I see there is a bunch of people joining, which is great. That's amazing. Hi, everybody. Really, really happy to see everyone here. Whichever time zone you're joining from, well, hope it's not too late or too early where you're at. It's kind of early afternoon here with me. Hi. Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy to see you all. So we have about around 30 people here, 30 people here. So I am getting ready to start the common mistakes made by native speakers of English. Hello to everybody who has visited my streams before, to the newcomers. Really nice to meet everyone. And I'm Marney, and that's an EY at the end. Marney, and I'll be happy to hear any types of questions you guys have. Like, ask away. I'm a pronunciation coach, and I also am a neuroscientist, and I work in education. Well, I have streams that talk about what brains do when they are learning, and I have streams talking about my personal teaching experience and how we achieve progress with my students. And I do this pronunciation show here. So let's go. Uh, one of these days, which actually tomorrow, it was tomorrow, excuse me, I think I'm just going to put that away. Tomorrow, I talked to a person, and I was talking to that person. I was explaining how I was getting ready for a talk about brains on one of the platforms that I give talks on. And well, that person, who's a born American, asked me, "So you have your nose buried in the books?" He didn't say buried, he said bared. Which is okay. He probably meant to say bearing. You have your nose like bearing in the books and stuff like this. I was like, "Do you mean buried? Why did you say bared?" And he was like, "Anything wrong with that word?" I was like, "No, nothing's wrong. Just like, what do you mean?" That's all. And that just led to a little bit of an awkwardness because, hey, are you going to tell me how to talk? I'm like, not at all. Sure, no. And multiple times at work, I encounter this one thing where foreign Americans come to me and say, "Hey, how do you spell adolescent?" Or schizophrenia or something like this. I'm like, "Hey, aren't you a native? Couldn't you, like, I'm not a born American, right? I speak American since age 0. That's a little bit different, right?" Uh, and yeah, then but you have a major in education, and and stuff like that, and are we all supposed to know how to spell words? I was like, not really, of course, no. And then it hit me, yeah, that's true. We're not all supposed to know how to spell words correctly. Like every single word that is hard uh, for a person to spell, no, you do not need to know the spelling of all of those. You can have a friendly coworker who can assist you, or you have Grammarly. Uh, well, I mean, it's not exactly what I'm going to talk about here today. It's more like a bit of a little intro that just I was hoping was going to help you understand that, yeah, native speakers make mistakes here and there. I can promise that I already made one mistake here, and I saw a person noticed it. I saw a person said, "You said tomorrow?" Yes, I intentionally said tomorrow. I confused the words in a sentence just for the single purpose that, yeah, I didn't say yesterday, that everybody makes mistakes. And native or not native, that's okay. People make mistakes. That's one little thing I want to drop here in the intro. Emily_Reddish, you're awesome. You noticed it. So, no, I did not talk to the person tomorrow, of course. I talked to the person yesterday. So, well, uh, bearing your nose in the books, February, library, and words like this, the words that we say wrong. Dun, 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 dun. Little jingle. Well, does somebody here have a pet peeve of, people messing up the grammar unintentionally, adding this little tiny suffix to a word or a wrong ending? Does it ever make you cringe? Have you ever experienced that? Okay. Or maybe you know somebody who's just like, maybe it's not you, right? Maybe you're not judgy and trying to correct everyone's grammar out there, outside of your classes, I mean, in your native language, of course, or the language that you're very, very fluent at. I like here, I mean, maybe you know somebody who is, yeah, it's me. Oh, Emily_Reddish. Hello. We hit off the conversation really, really well today. You're saying it's me. So you're the grammar Nazi? Are you? A little bit of that? Or we have a bit of a friendlier term for that. We say grammar police. For example, my little son, he is grammar police. He always corrects people when they say things wrong, especially me, especially in Chinese. And again, I can promise I am going to make more mistakes today, just because. Just because we make them, I can promise you one thing. I always do. I always get corrected on that, even though educated and well read, but still I would totally miss the agreement sometimes. In Like, for example, you have a plural subject, and you would say a verb like a predicate in the singular form, like, "Hey, where's the toys? Where's the people?" Right? You don't say "Where are the people?" because it's just so habitual. Because we just like it comes from usage, and it's not a big deal, really, honestly. And as the language is developing, I believe that might soon become part of the norm to a certain extent. Correct me if I'm thinking something wrong here. But well, yeah, the truth is that, well, most people might not know how to say that, or might have just come to a wrong conclusion. They have reanalyzed what they've heard since age zero, since they were tiny babies. They heard grown-ups around them say, for example, I wouldn't have done that. Hello, what's the topic? Astro.nasty. That's mistakes the native English speakers make. That's the topic. Emily Reddish says, my husband's a grammar police. Yeah, he likes correcting. Oh my gosh, yeah. Everybody knows such a person. That's my point here. Think about this. Like, think this type of case where, for example, we have a middle schooler or a high schooler. They have seen some word, like, for example, I heard a guy say per capita, and I was like, "What capita? Are you talking Spanish here?" And he said, like this word, and he wrote it down. And it's spelled CAPITA, capita, right? Per capita, which is income per capita, or like any other comfort per capita, which would mean per person. And so the kid saw it written, but he never heard it spoken. Uh, which further on made him make that mistake. And well, again, a lot of people ask me, so how do you pronounce this etc dot? Like the learners, they're like, that's the etc. Because you always see it written, but never hear it spoken. Uh, I tend to make mistakes on purpose and Russian to annoy him. Yeah, well, making mistakes on purpose to annoy grammar Nazi, because that's German, right? Not the word Nazi, but yes, it is. I mean, I speak German. Grammar Nazi. That's what I meant to say here. Yeah, it's really, really fun to piss those people off sometimes. Okay, and coming back to the point of reanalysis, of reanalyzing stuff, I could have done that. You couldn't have possibly thought to do that. Oh, I don't know. I'd been there. I would have come up with a better solution or something. Would have, could have, should have. And naturally, people reanalyze this and they write it down as would of, right? I can actually write a com. Unfortunately, I cannot do it in a Restream for YouTube and VK, but I can totally do it here. It will spell like a would of of, like the preposition of, and should of, or could of, or any modal verb that you can imagine there of the uh, same sound. So, which literally it is not that, it's would have. But when you're saying it really, really fluently, it sounds like would have. I would have done. She should have done. It wouldn't have done. And then people start messaging it in this form, and then they start like putting Instagram captions there saying, "We would Oh, we would have been better doing that rather than, being somewhere else." And you're like, oh. Again, not judgy, but just it's kind of cute in a way. And that's why the language is changing. The rules that were there ages and ages ago, like for example, where they come from. People used to say, "From where do you come?" Right? I have this classic annoying American friend who's like, again, born American because I'm American uh, by language. Of who? So you're putting your prepositions at the end of the sentences, huh? I'm like, yeah, we're not supposed to do that. So in primary school, people of our generation and older, again, our generation, I'm a little bit over 30. So I mean, if you're a Gen Z person, I don't think it applies. But those people, while they were in primary school, they'd learned that the preposition should not go after the verb. Where do you come from? Or what have you stepped at? Or what have you stepped on what, or at what have you stepped? Would be the correct way. Is it okay to correct such people or not considered to be polite? It's like, yeah, highly not nice to do that, but everybody has a friend who corrects their surroundings all the time. And here I'm going to talk about a few acorns. Here's a word for you, some language, if you don't mind. Egg corn, which is literally here's an egg, right? And here's a corn. Here's a corn cob. Oops. Oh, I hope you didn't lose me. There we go. Oops. Are we here? Yeah, we're here. Sorry for that little interruption. I was just trying to manipulate the chat over here. Acorn. Acorn came from the word. Do you know the word, the fruit, the nut of the oak tree? What word is that? That would be the word acorn, right? And as sometimes kids, for example, hear the word acorn, they're like, "Oh, that's acorn, right?" That's little corn, and that's an egg, and that sounds like a fun fruit. So that may be that as well. Oh, acorns, they are creative mishearings. When people hear something wrong and they think that they have actually heard it right, and they attribute meaning to what they've heard. It's kind of very close to folk etymology, but still the mechanism is a tiny bit different. Well, because the folk etymology is when you hear the word, you try to make it to make sense for yourself. While in a acorn and a mishearing, you're just trying to make the pronunciation stick. So, for example, we've all seen that phrase "for all intents and purposes." For example, for all intents and purposes, um, like in a legal document, for example, that this stands for all intents and purposes. And people have heard it so much that some of them started writing it. for all intensive purposes, right? And it's a little bit annoying. And like you said, do you correct that? I'm not so sure that you should correct that. You're a very interesting lecturer. Well, thanks a lot. I try. Well, and there are more. If anybody here is watching Rick and Morty, because I do, and it's kind of genius in terms of language sometimes. Well, there was a moment where Morty started putting Rick down for saying take for granted. Take something for granted, for granted. While Rick said take something for granted. And many native speakers of English say take something for granted, like a stone, the granite stone. While it should be granted, right? Take something for granted. But when you say granted really fast, like, okay, so he just took it for granted. Granite, same word. So, and yeah, okay, well, Rick gets really upset about it, of course, in the cartoon. But the point here is that, yeah, maybe you correct them, maybe you don't, but it's not granite. No, the etymology here is absolutely wrong. And there are many more. Have you heard the expression, it's a doggy dog? Dog eat dog world, it's a dog eat dog community. I'll give you a second. You can think about how you spell that. Doggy dog. So a lot of people, native speakers of English, they go with a doggy dog world, just like that, which is not true because the correct spelling, anyone? You probably have heard this phrase when it's like a very cruel community and everybody basically hates each other, and you have to make it in this world and try so hard. So it's a dog eat dog world. That would be, and when you say doggy dog, dog eat dog, that would be just basically the same thing, right? Let me give you a couple more. And then we're going to play a little game of you trying to guess what some other phrases might mean. Yes, doggy dog, dog eat dog, which means very aggressive. Okay. Everybody heard the word espresso, right? I mean, that's not a secret to anyone that that's espresso. And, well, that's not my game. I'm just saying how those words appear. Well, there's a word, shamefaced. What do you think shamefaced means? What do you think it means? So it's like shame. And then there's the word face, which is some shame on your face. There's some shame on your face, which is, oh, you're so shamefaced. Like, struck with shame, sort of like really stuck in that feeling, which comes from the word shamefast. If you remember the word fasten your safety belts, right? Fast, to fasten. Fast meant stuck in place and not being able to move. So stuck in place with a feeling of guilt or shame, which a long time ago was pronounced like shamefast. And nowadays, people forgot about this word fast because they're not using it anymore at all. And, well, shamefaced. That's it. That makes sense, doesn't it? Shamefaced. You're so shamefaced. It's kind of fun. Here, let me give you one more. It takes two to tangle. It takes two to tangle. You may have heard this one. If you haven't, I mean, that would just be kind of educational. If you have, you will have a good laugh because not everybody knows where it comes from. It takes two to tangle. Like it takes two people to cooperate and get the ball rolling and get the thing going. It takes two to tangle. Tangle, which word did tangle used to stand for? A lot of native speakers say tangle, but the original word is to tango. Tango. Like to dance the dance of tango, right? It takes two to tango. You need two people to get the thing going, right? To get something work. Do you guys want more of that? Do you want more examples like this? I only have 15 minutes here today. We're kind of, well, no more than half an hour, which I'm just going to give you a few things and we'll leave you here thinking that, oh, there might be more, right? Because, yes, native speakers, yes, you want more. Okay, let's go. Coleslaw. What's coleslaw? Anything the word coleslaw reminds you of coleslaw. If you say it like this, it's a food. It's a type of appetizer. Coleslaw. It's not cold. Like it's cold. That's the folk etymology. It's coleslaw salad, right? Coleslaw, the chopped up cabbage mixed in with like really, really finely chopped, right? Mixed up with carrots and like occasional grains there. Coleslaw. Um, ta-da! Cold because it's cold, right? Chester drawers. Yep, can probably crack this one. Chester drawers. One word, just like this. Chester drawers. My friend literally thought it's pronounced like this, Chester drawers. And I was like, no, it's, am I from Kharkov? No, no, I'm a native speaker. I am not. Chester drawers. What is that word? What is that word? It's chest of drawers. Sorry if I touched my hair so much. The humidity here is very low, so it's fuzzy and annoying. Chest of drawers, right? And a lot of Americans think that, yeah, exactly, you got it. Deaf English fun. Okay, that's exactly it. Chest of drawers. I had another conversation with a friend who we have a game of patty cake, bakers man, bake me a cake as fast as you can. Yeah, piece of furniture, exactly. Good job. And it's patty cake, right? It's pronounced like this, but what it really is pat cake, right? Yeah, we keep things in drawers. That exactly true. But it's not Chester drawers. It's not the place name and then some drawers. It's chest of drawers. So yeah, the patty cake situation is pat a cake because the baker in the rhyme pats a cake and puts it in the oven for Judy and for me. And this is the game, right? Of pat a cake. And when you say it fast, it's patty cake. So it's pat a cake. And my friend literally was, really? I thought it's patty cake. We played it when we were kids. It's like, yeah, but it's not. All right. But again, yeah, correcting people. Gonna give you one more. Try to guess what it is. Chicken spots. Chicken spots. Yeah, to pat somebody on the shoulder. Exactly. Pat. And the game of patty cake is about a baker who was patting the cake, right? So what was I gonna say? Chicken pox, which people pronounce like chicken spots a lot of the time because chicken pox gives people spots, right? And those chicken spots, which is chicken pox, of course. Yes, a disease. That's true. English was Celine. Thank you. We have another one. People say a scapegoat. A scapegoat. Where do you, yes, chicken pox. Absolutely. Where does that come from? Scapegoat. It's a goat, but it's actually a person, and they have escaped from somewhere. Or not, have they? Is it about escaping or is it not about escaping? What do you think? Alibi? Okay, great. So it's not escape, it's a scapegoat, right? Why do you make this person a scapegoat, right? Why do you make this person sort of bear the responsibility for everybody or be somebody's alibi? Yes, great. A scapegoat. Escape, escape that merged well, nobody even noticed, right? Like those no tomorrow, it just merged together. Have you heard about the old wise tale? Oh, it's an old wise tale. It's an old wise tale. But if you say it very, very clearly, yeah, you're right about the scapegoat, the person who's blamed for something. Old why if I say it very clear, I'll go like it's an old wives' tale. The old wives that were like the old ladies, chit chatting and trying to create some sort of like what would you say just to explain the natural phenomenon. Yes, like an always tale, like that is a folk story. and that might not necessarily be true. For example, if you rub ginger on your forehead, you may be smarter. Like, just complete nonsense that old like women in the village believe, like somewhere in the mountains. So it's an old wives, which has an apostrophe there, I believe. One more mistake English speakers always make: miss apostrophe or add an extra apostrophe, or yeah, just forget the S altogether. Old wife's tale. There you go. Okay, do we have any more? I think I'll say the last one here. Plate mat. Plate mat. I have it right here in front of me on the table, and it's a thing you place under your plates, so that the hot plate will not touch the nice, wood of the table to protect the wood. Plate mat, which is not. And if you go to the store and go and buy those things, they're called placemats, right? Placemats. But the meaning has changed, and people heard the word plate in there, right? So they first heard it, then the meaning changed. Do you guys say GIF or do you say GIF? How do you think we should pronounce it? Because there's a whole war on GIF or GIF. Is it a G or a J? Because a lot of the time you will say GIF, and the people will be like, do you mean GIF? The correct way is GIF, but nobody says it like that. Everybody just says GIF. Nobody says GIF, right? Well, then I kind of go back and forth with gift, like gift, like great. I mean the GIF file, like the GIF, not the GIF, but the if you pronounce it like a J sound, like a GIF, which you would say GIF, like a GIF file. Can you send me a GIF? Or oh, that's a cute GIF picture. And oh, do you mean a GIF? Yeah, I do. I do. Look it up in the dictionary. Not being a grammar Nazi. Uh, Defibrillator, February. Do you know that the correct pronunciation of the word zoology is actually zoology? Because, biology, we have to keep the ology. And zoology, what is it a science of if you just contract the word zoo, which stands for animals, right? To just that would not be comprehensible. So zoology, but everybody says zoology. If you say zoology, they will look at you like you have something wrong going on with you. Same for IKEA. Everybody says IKEA, right? And the correct way would be IKEA, which yeah, knocks my socks off kind of. Even though I do come from Germany, and yeah, people say IKEA here, but IKEA is how the American world says it. Bruschetta, bruschetta, and stuff like this. One last in this category is this word. Will you say it like a fort or like a forte? Like a strong point. Like, this is one of my fortes. This is one of my forts, one of my strong points. If you're not talking about music, because in music, this is called a forte. Das ist gut aus. Danke. Well, and when you say, okay, that's not his fort, and people are like, that's not his what? That's not his fort. That's not his forte. It's like, no, you only say forte when it's about music and everybody's like, nerd. Goodbye, right? Oh, right. And normally it would be still like I would still say forte, even though I know it's wrong. I would still say give and not even try to educate sometimes is much friendlier than fight for it. Stationary versus stationary, though that's the category of words that gives pain not only to learners and not only to learners but English as a second language, but to the speakers per se. Which one is which? Stationary, like staying in one place, or stationary, like office supplies, pens, pencils, paper, blah, blah, blah. What do you think? Which one is which? So, stationary, stationary. It's stationary, nuri, right? Both. Which is when you spell it, it's like than and then, which sound very close, but still kind of a little bit different. With stationary and stationary, it's two similar words, just said them. It's kind of hard to know which one concerns which. So stationary A refers to something that's not moving, staying still. It's a bit of a stationary situation, right? And stationary, you're gonna go to get stationery to the stationery store. So where's stationery in the store? Office supplies. Oh, so yeah, stuff like this. Basically, that was my game. That was my half hour today. I do have things coming up, and I will save the stream for sure. I might come back with more absurdities like this. We might keep the pronunciation show or switch it up a little bit, turn it into some other sort of show that talks absurdities and interesting points that everybody could benefit from learning. And yeah, well, what I talked about here today is quite a big can of worms, you know. It People kind of do not go into well heads on fight about it, but as I mentioned before, there's a lot of us who call themselves grammar police, who are grammar Nazi, and we cannot do anything about it. We just have to be nice about it, probably. Um, so being nice about ending my sentence in a preposition here to check out for today. So was really happy to see you today. Was really happy to see people on YouTube, people on Instagram, people on VK. Saving the stream, you will be able to access it later if one of the words, you liked it in particular or it caught your attention. And thanks for all who participated. That was an amazing little chat. Bye. Bye, everybody. That was a great, great stream. See ya.